Actually, this is good evening. We're at the borderline of afternoon and evening. Welcome to our 23-24 budget public hearing of the Forsyth County Board of Education, Board of Commissioners.
Okay, done.
I've been away from that long enough.
Cool,
There are a couple. I had a couple
cool
things I
budget
could
just
say.
increased by $100 million.
Maybe I'll say one thing. Maybe it's asked that a few weeks ago. We are the Board of Education. Maybe it's because I felt that way. We're going to.
Sorry. Sorry. Hear you. I apologize. Well, that's good. You couldn't hear me. That was probably good. Certainly welcome again tonight, and we're going to begin our meeting with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner McDaniel. So if you would stand, please, if you are able. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda tonight consists solely of a public hearing to receive comments regarding the 2023-24 Forsyth County budget. And this public hearing is an opportunity for commissioners to hear your thoughts on the proposed budget before we begin our deliberations over the next several days. We're starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. We've had various preliminary items, including books and so forth, that we have had a chance to look through, but we'll have our individual discussions over the next 2 days. And the hearing is not a debate. There's not ample time to go back and forth, so the commissioners will be certainly listening to all of you and taking notes. I've got my note-taking spot item, and it's an opportunity to hear what you have to say. And everything you have to say is important, and several of us, all of us, have received many, many emails sent to the entire commission. Had a chance to look at those and respond to many of them. There are two options available for citizens who wish to speak. One, citizens who are interested in participating in the public session actually may call 336-422-1200. And if you do that, you'll be placed on hold until the public session begins. We only have 3 callers at the moment. We'll see if there are a few more, so we actually might do those first so that their hold doesn't go forever, and do that. And if you're attending in person, you do need to fill out a speaker card, and they're located on the credenza there in the foyer. And if you've not filled out a card, you can do so in the next minute or two, or the next 5 minutes or so, and just bring it over to our clerk, Ms. Ashley Matthews. So with all that said, and if they're for our folks on the commissioners, if they need to take a bio break at any point, depending on our length, they can just go ahead and go do that, and they'll certainly return and be right back. But in any case, I think Madam Clerk, we do have 3 callers, so I think we'll go ahead and, oh yes, and I do want to mention, I have a timer. Thank you, Commissioner Wisenhunt. I have a timer, and in the interest of time, we have 3 minutes, and if you don't hear the little beep go off, I think you probably will, but if you don't, I may give you a little high sign or interruption, just ask you to finish your thought. So if you can kind of keep it in that 3 minutes, we'll be good. We won't just cut you off, but get you so you can stop. All righty. We can begin with the 3 callers, and then we'll get our cards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thornton, 25 East 5th Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina 27101.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a warning will be given. You may begin.
My name is Kenya Thornton. I represent Eliza's Helping Hands. And as stated earlier, our address is 1225 East 5th Street inside the Winston Mutual Building. Our request was for this year from the commissioners for us to continue possibly get support for our mediation. This past fiscal year, we have serviced over 175 clients that come in and out of the court. Of course, the purpose and focus of district court mediation is for people to be able to resolve their issues either outside of court, for us to be the intermediates for the district attorney's office. And so we were just, in our request for this year, we're just requesting, and we hope that the commissioners and the taxpayers will continue to allow us the support for our request. And of course, if there's anything or additional information is needed as to what we do or how district court mediation works, obviously you can contact our office. Thank you for your time.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record. Sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm sorry. I could not hear you at first.
Okay.
May I go?
Yes, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Renee Griffin, and I'm the Creative Agent Partnerships Officer for Senior Services located at 2895 Shorefair Drive in Winston-Salem.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a 30-second warning will be given. You may begin.
You've likely heard the phrase that there's strength in numbers, but locally we know that there's also power in joining together as a community to continue the mission of serving older adults in Forsyth County. The county special allocation of $380,000 this past year, along with community donations and countless volunteer hours, have helped us sustain seniors through programs and services that keep them at home, living with dignity and aging with purpose. We are proud to say we have served over 2,100 seniors so far this year, and we serve them through a variety of programs, including home care, CAPDA, living at home, Meals on Wheels, Senior Lunch, Healthline, Aging Resources, our award-winning Williams Adult Day Center, as well as our recently added Creative Connections and Memory Connections program. Commissioners, we were thrilled to have many of you present for our recent topping out ceremony for our new and innovative Intergenerational Center for Arts and Wellness. This will be the new home of our Williams Adult Day Center, as well as dedicated and shared space for 20 additional local collaborating partners. The 62,000 square foot center will be a one-of-a-kind, not only in North Carolina, but across the U.S., bringing to bear our community's assets in areas such as healthcare and wellness, human services, higher education, and the arts. We are extremely grateful for your approval of the $2.7 million of county and American Rescue Plan funds in support of the project that is still on schedule to complete in September of 2023. While we've experienced considerable support for our Creative Connections campaign, our core programs and services still depend on our community's financial assistance. This last 3 years have been challenging for senior services staff and volunteers, but we have risen to the challenge. It should be no surprise that we continue to be challenged by increasing costs. Again, we are grateful for your directed support of $380,000 during last year's budget cycle. And this year we have requested a modest increase of $20,000 for a total of $400,000 for the coming year, and respectfully ask for your thoughtful consideration of this increase. Thank you again for your partnership in serving the older citizens of Forsyth County. Thank you. You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record. Hello, can you hear us?
Arleta Patterson, 1235 Northeast 23rd Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27105.
Thank you. Please, speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and a warning will be given. You may begin.
Thank you. My name is Arleta Patterson. I am the Community Engagement Associate for Partnership for Prosperity. I am coming to you today to talk to you about an initiative of the United Way of Forsyth County where we are proposing to address social justice and equity issues that will help in the reduction of poverty through a collaborative, place-based, resident-led approach called Moving Families Forward. This approach will permit collaborators like P4P, Action for Equity, iCare, Neighbors for Better Neighborhoods, and others to work with Salem Gardens residents and service providers to specifically address the difficulties this impoverished neighborhood has in meeting the needs of its people. This collaborative will work to strengthen communities and economic conditions for children and families. This community is comprised of about 150 households, a majority of which are Black, female-headed, receiving almost 100% housing subsidies. Tell us that they have barriers to employment that include child care, transportation, educational attainment, criminal records, and driver's license. And especially, many have formerly been incarcerated, which reduces their chances of employment even more. The Moving Families Forward initiative goals promote collaborations by first conducting a baseline survey, an asset mapping, and utilizing study circles to make decisions and solve problems and creating neighborhood action plans, and also creating committees for each of the social determinants of health by equipping those residents to become leaders, providing them with advocacy skills training and MBN training. In conjunction, they will work with all the social determinants of health, housing, education, health, jobs and workforce, food insecurity, and more. The individuals will work together over a 2-year period. We have been working with about 10 organizations that will work through our efforts with eliminating silos. They will begin working to leverage existing resources and identify new ways to collaborate with this organization. One great thing about this is that it's not only residence-driven, but it's data-driven and inspired by various research partnerships with Wake Forest Community Engagement Research Team, Department of Pediatrics, the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Public Sciences, C6, and more. Residents will learn and collect data and use the data to assess it and utilize it to form the initiatives that they create. During these sessions, I will help to create an informed and
Ma'am, your
engaged.
time is up. Can you wrap it up?
Yes, I can wrap it up by saying that P4P would like to work and continue to move families forward by our second community. We have had much success in Castle Heights and would like to see this work move forward in Salem Gardens. Thank you for listening today.
Thank you.
All righty, Madam Clerk, we can begin with our cards that we received. And as you come forward, please, in fact, she'll actually call 2 folks, and maybe both can come up, and then we'll have one ready to step in afterwards, and that will cut our travel time. And I'd like for you to each give your name and address, please, and I'll keep the time going. So you can call our first 2 folks.
Derek Young and Jim Taylor.
Well, good evening. My name is Derek Young. I'm co-founder of One Love Festival. One Love Festival is an annual 2-day cultural festival here in Forsyth County. We focus on arts, music, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Our kickoff event happens Thursday, June 22nd, 2023 at the Milton Road Center for the Arts. Our next event is Friday, June 23rd, 2023. It kicks off at 7 p.m. That's also at the Milton Road Center for the Arts. our Artistic Soul Conversation, which is free and open to the public. That starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. That's at the Enterprise Center. And again, that's a free, open to the public event. And then Saturday, June 24th, 2023, we have another event at the Milton Road Center for the Arts. Last year, we had about 350 to 400 people come here to Forsyth County and participate in One Love Festival. And this year, we're expecting about 600 to 750 people to come. We support the local hotels, the restaurants, and the shops. Some of our sponsors are the Arts Council, Forsyth County, through the ARPA funds from Forsyth County, UNC School of the Arts, American National Bank and Trust, Winston-Salem Downtown Partnership, Claire and Randall Tuttle, Dr. Millicent and Kenny Ford, Pink Rope Chronicles, and Winston-Salem Chronicles. The last point I wanted to ask or make a comment for is presenting or putting together an alternative process for those small and mid-sized entities that have received funding from the Arts Council through the ARPA funds. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jim Taylor. I'm the curator of the Kernersville Auto Museum, and we're located at 204 Holly Tree Drive in Kernersville. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you on behalf of the Kernersville Auto Museum. I'm pleased to tell you this evening that the museum is doing extremely well, far better than I would have dreamed that we would do in the first 11 months of operation. If you'd let me share with you just some statistics, and I will read those from a matter of expediency. We've had 2,248 visitors in the last 11 months to sign our guest register. And we estimate probably about 25% of our visitors do not sign. So if you extrapolate that, we feel like we've had about 2,800 visitors to the museum in the last 11 months. We're becoming very popular with tourists. We are a tourist attraction right now, and lots of residents in the county, when they have out-of-town guests coming, family and friends, they are looking for something to do, so they wind up coming to the museum. We have 32 classic vintage antique automobiles presently, hoping to have maybe within the next 8 months 40. We just recently got our website up and running. At present, we have 20 reviews on our website, and we're happy to say we have a 5.0 rating on our website. Comments like hidden gem, awesome place, unforgivable not to visit, and so forth. We offer free admission to all of our visitors, and this is very well received because when you get a telephone call, the first thing they ask is, what is the price? And when you say there's no charge, the voice changes. So they really appreciate that. We're all volunteer staff, have an outstanding board of directors of 9 members. The nonprofits in the county are really taking advantage of our museum just in the last few months. Kernersville Foundation, the Kiwanis Club, the Shepherd Center had their annual event there just a few weeks ago and had a very successful annual fundraiser of about 125 people to attend. Actually, tomorrow, the Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with Forsyth Tech, is having a Ladies' Day workshop, and they're anticipating about 50 people to attend. So I know I'll close now and say one thing. As you know, our motto is where memories and history come alive, and I truly believe that we're living up to that. And thank you again for your support.
Madam Clerk, if you can call 2 folks again, and then we'll try to call 1 each time. And you know, if we had an empty chair, it'd be maybe that spare chair could be the on-deck chair. That'd be good. People wouldn't feel uncomfortable standing waiting. Very good. Thank you.
Lee Childress and Val Young.
Good evening. My name is Lee Childress, address 1399 Ashley Brook Lane, Winston-Salem. I come before you tonight to ask for your consideration and support for the classified employees of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School District. These dedicated teacher assistants, bus drivers, mechanics, maintenance workers, food nutrition workers, janitorial staff, secretaries, and many others are the backbone of our district. And quite honestly, without them, there would be no school. School would not open. As an EC or special education teacher completing my 16th year this week, I know firsthand I could not do my job without our classified folks. For years now, I have watched these folks work so hard all day long, and at 3:30, when our school dismisses, slip into the restroom to put on their uniform or to freshen up and head straight to their second jobs. Many times they would work till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night and sacrifice time with their families in order to help and educate our kids. Sadly, in recent years, I have seen several leave the district because they simply can't afford it, especially with the lure of many corporations who are offering a more competitive salary package. I'll finish by saying this. I know the vast majority of the money that funds schools comes from the state. And yes, they're sitting on billions that they need to give up. But I ask you to please support the request of the school district to give a local boost to our dedicated classified staff. This request would not only benefit our classified staff, but also our students, who benefit greatly from having such dedicated people to help them. Thank you for your time.
You can call one more at this time, Madam Clerk. We'll go to the on-deck chair.
Iris Sunshine.
Thank you.
Val, go
Thank you,
ahead.
County Commissioners. I'm Val Young, 1399 Ashley Brook Lane. I'm the president of the Forsyth County Association Educators, but most of all, I'm an educator by trade. I want to first thank you for having this meeting at a time when educators can be here. I also want to request that every person in this room advocate for increased funding to public education from the members of the General Assembly. They are the ones that can ultimately increase funding to public education. As we advocate, we must ask them, the General Assembly, to release the funds from the Leandro Plan. It is well overdue. With the increased funding from the General Assembly, you, our county commissioners, can fund fully our district's budget, which in return, our school board can increase the salaries and address the salary compression of the hardest working people in our school, our classified staff. They have not received a substantial living wage increase for decades. But yet, they continue to keep our records organized, books stacked in our libraries, floors cleaned in our school, buses repaired and rolling, and our scholars fed and educated. We came today to request that you fully fund our district's budget because it's the right thing to do, because it's what we need to do for our scholars and for our staff. Thank you.
Kathy Poling.
My name is Iris Sunshine. I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Law Center of Central North Carolina, 102 West 3rd Street, Winston-Salem, 27101. Good evening, Chairman Martin and Commissioners. We've known since 2005 that there is a need in this county for children, the silent victims of domestic violence and their parents' conflicts, to have a lawyer championing their best interests. We are grateful for the investment you have made in our work and in the safety and well-being of Forsyth County's children. The Children's Law Center is growing and not plateauing. We are increasing the number of children we serve, strengthening relationships with community stakeholders, and are continuously improving our procedures and processes. As of May 31, 2023, we have exceeded the number of children we served during fiscal year 22 by 58%. In fact, our goal for the current fiscal year we're in now is to serve an additional 50 children in conjunction with our ongoing Forsyth County caseload. We have surpassed this goal with still a month remaining in this fiscal year. Your investment will continue to enable us to mitigate the impact of adverse childhood experiences of our young clients, whose average ACE score is over 4.5, indicating that they are at a high risk of poor physical, mental, and emotional health outcomes later in life. We know from the Wake Forest University School of Law study that our approach is working. When the Children's Law Center was appointed in domestic violence protective order cases, there was a substantial decrease in subsequent family violence. Families in which the CLC, the Children's Law Center, was involved experienced a 28% rate of recurrence of violence versus a 70% rate of recurrence of violence in the control group. Our upstream efforts contribute to saving county, court, and law enforcement resources that can be redirected to other needs in Forsyth County. Additionally, the Children's Law Center's individualized approach has the positive ripple effect of a child growing up in a secure and stable environment and becoming an emotionally healthy adult, positively impacting this community. Our collaboration with Bridges to Hope Family Justice Center of Forsyth County as an on-site partner has contributed to the increase in our caseload. In addition, our team has created a bench book and bench card for the district court judges, many of whom are new, as you know, and met with them to explain the details of our investigation and steps for appointing the Children's Law Center attorneys. On behalf of the Children's Law Center's Board of Directors and staff, I respectfully request approval of our Special Appropriations Program application. Thank you.
Kirsten Russ.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Paling, 2137 Warwick Road, Winston-Salem. Good evening, Chairman Martin and all the commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Kathy Paling, and I am serving as the chairman of the board for the Children's Law Center. The reason I agreed to join the board and serve as chair is the tremendous colleagues who share a willingness and commitment to evaluate and to improve all processes so that Children's Law Center can serve all children who otherwise would not be represented in a fiscally responsible way. The Children's Law Center listens and ensures the voices of all these children, many of whom have very high ACE scores, are heard. Our children are our future. Thank you.
Captain Ferguson.
Good evening, Chairman Martin, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. I have a story several decades ago.
Could you give us your name and address?
Oh,
please?
that's
Thank you.
right. Thank you, sir. I apologize. Kirsten Russ, 6725 Bramble Bush Court, Clemens, 27012. So several decades ago, I still had color in my hair and not quite as many wrinkles. And 2 of our 3 children, all of whom attended Forsyth County schools, public schools, K through 12, needed bus transportation. And I need to tell you that that bus driver calmed my heart. The bus driver was regular. The bus driver was consistent. The bus driver was there every day. It was very helpful to a mom putting her youngest child, her middle child, on the school bus. I have a friend who does not have that experience. Thankfully, he works from home, but he can't schedule any early meetings because he never knows if the bus is going to be there or the bus is not going to be there. And it is irregular enough that he always has the car ready to himself transport the children to school. The times really have changed. They are not the same as they were when my kids attended the K-12 schools. Please fund the drivers and protect the children. Thank you for your time.
Sarah Engel.
Good evening. My name is Captain Lashika Ferguson. I'm one of the commanders of security at the detention center. I've been with the sheriff's office for 17 years now. I'd like to thank you all for all you've done for us up until this point. We really appreciate it. We really do. I'm here today to ask for your continued support and approval for the temporary salary boost of $3 for at least 9 pay periods, or until our vacancy count reaches 40. As of this morning at 9:21 a.m., the detention center has 114 vacancies, and which we will need 74 new hires. Staff members have been on mandatory overtime since September 2021. As essential workers, we have become tired, but we will never give up. Many are worn out, and the temporary $3 increase is a blessing and sends the message that we are still being recognized for our hard work and dedication. There are shortages in detention facilities all over the state, and those who are working there are filling in a gap. Thank you once again to each and every last one of you for your continued support for those working in the detention center. Y'all have a good evening.
Chase Law.
I'm Corporal Engel, and the address is 201 North Church Street. First and foremost, I would like to say good evening and thank each and every one of you for everything that you have done for the detention center. And I've been employed with the Sheriff's Office for 8 years. I've been cross-trained almost everywhere in the facility. We've seen a lot of changes within the facility, not just with the staff levels, but also with the residents that are within the detention center, but that's for another time. Staff shortages are not just here in Forsyth County, but also all over the state. We're proposing this for critical pay, $3 more an hour until we have reached at least 40 vacancies. Due to this, we have been working mandatory overtime for the past 3 years. Critical pay will help take some of the pressure off of the staff, being able to take care of our families while we're away from them, since we are on the mandatory overtime. We understand that this is only a temporary action, but by receiving the $3 extra for the staff, it would show that we have your support during this time. Thank you for your time.
Reginald McCaskill.
Hello, I'm Chase Law, President and CEO of Arts Council of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County, 251 North Spruce Street, Winston-Salem, 27101. Chairman Martin, commissioners, and county staff, I want to thank you for your time this evening, and many, many thanks to your longstanding support of Arts Council and so many others within our arts and cultural sector. This year, Arts Council applied for a renewal grant for your special appropriations pool of funds with a request for an increase of up to $170,000. Annually, you provide $100,000 to support our concert series in Forsyth County Parks and our annual operating budget. This renewal is much needed and will be very much appreciated as it supports our grants, community programs, arts and education within our school system, and provides access to the arts for all residents of Forsyth County. An increase in support would allow for further support of area arts and cultural organizations and artists utilizing our spaces and our campus. It'll assist with increased costs associated with our park series and help attract larger acts to present to our community at the series. I'm really proud to see how we've grown in the last 2 years and how the arts have worked to get on the other side of this pandemic. We're back like gangbusters. I mean, we're busting at the seams at our campus and throughout the community. But we have a lot of work to do to continue recovery. The funds from the American Rescue Plan Act have been very much welcomed and appreciated, and we have supported many new and enhanced programs with these special funds, programs that are breaking down barriers and making big change in our community. And we'll continue to update you on that as we go along. In fact, we're really close to allocating all of the funds, so that's exciting. But I want to remind you, ARPA funds do not commingle with our annual operating funds. We need annual support to help us with those grants, provide those facility subsidies, grow our community programs, and bring this community together even further. The support from Forsyth County is an important part of our annual budget, and I hope you will consider renewing your support this year and consider a small increase as we look to the future. On behalf of my Board of Trustees, staff, and the entire arts and cultural sector, thank you in advance for showcasing your commitment to the arts and the Arts Council. We're grateful for your support and support our public school system. Thank you.
Tawana Roebuck.
Reginald McCaskill, 1922 South Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Suite 72. Tribe Minority and Women's Business Expo. We just want to say thank you for your continued support for the Tribe Minority and Women's Business Expo. This year, we're embarking upon our 10th year, 10 years that we've been serving the community. One may ask the question, why the Tribe Minority and Women's Business Expo? Small businesses and entrepreneurs have a long time history of supporting wealth building for generations to come. By supporting more tribe, minority, and women businesses throughout our community can help create more opportunities and meaningful savings and property ownership, create credit building and generational wealth for minority and women businesses. When I think about the idea of starting this opportunity 10 years ago, never would have imagined. We started out with 25 minority and women businesses. Our last venture, we had 135 or more in the Benton Convention Center. As usual, we encourage you all to participate in all of those endeavors. This year is going to be a 4-day celebration of minority and women businesses, which starts on the 24th of August and ends on the 27th of August. So when you think about what the Tribe Minority and Women Business Project, as I call it, assists in addressing the disparities that are faced with minority and women businesses due to the lack of resources and capital, visibility, and customers. You all have assisted us with providing these services throughout at least 4 years of your support, and we are asking for your continued support as we endeavor to raise awareness to minority businesses and women businesses in the area. Also, this year, Winston-Salem was ranked in the top as it relates to starting businesses, and it's only because of the effort and dedication that is shown by our city leaders through their support of entrepreneurship in our city. Thank you so very much.
Siat Shabazz.
Good evening. I'm Tawana Wellman Roebuck. I'm the Executive Director of Experiment in SelfReliance. Most people in the community know us as ESR. We're located on 3480 Dominion Street. Our zip code is 27105. Chairman Martin, it's great to be here this evening to share with you, and hello to everyone. I'm really excited about being here this evening, and I want you to think about and walk with me in a journey. Oftentimes throughout our life, there are teachers, there's listeners, there's mentors in our lives that help us be the great people that we are. At Experiment in SelfReliance, we have been in business since 1964. Yes, that's a long time. One of the things that we take great pride in is that we serve as mentors, counselors, financial advisors, handholders, and listeners. The majority of the staff at Experiment in SelfReliance are case managers. We work very closely with individuals to set out a course so they can be successful. We're so pleased of the support from the county all these years. And one of the things we want to remind you of is our fabulous IDA program. Now, what does IDA stand for? IDA stands for Individual Development Account. We help individuals become first-time homeowners. We partner with the Housing Authority, Habitat, and a number of other organizations throughout the community through our economic literacy program. Yes, we talk to people about budgeting, and baby, that hot water heater belongs to you now. Let's put together a plan of action. Let's look at our budget so you can do better and be better. Just recently, we were asked by the county and others to add the small business component. So we will be working with individuals to develop strategies on developing strategies around building their small business. That's a good plan. A small business plan helps individuals with wealth management. Also, if you think about it, it's an opportunity to pass that down to other generations within their family. So we are very excited that we've been here a while. We hope to continue to be here serving the people. And I'm excited. I've been there 25 years. People keep saying, Twana, when you going to retire? I don't know yet. I ain't done. But I want to thank you. I want you to think about the special appropriation as well as the funds that support the IDA program. Thank you for all that you do. And yes, let's help those families in the school system. Thank you.
Charis McGuire.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. My name is Kiat Shabazz, co-founder and executive director of Harry Veterans Community Outreach Services. Please bear with me with the tone of my voice. I've had lung cancer and it has impaired my lungs, so I'm straining to talk. However, that does not impair me from doing the work that I've started to do and have been doing for 16 years, going on 17. We also have been notified by a filmmaker who is doing a documentary with Wake Forest University on the history of Harry and the work they have followed us, and it will be introduced to the film festival. I am proud of the work that we do and for the veterans and their families. I am thankful for the support that we get from you. We also work with the children. I no longer can do some of the things that I used to do because of my medical challenges, but we don't fail to deliver the services to the veterans. Before you have letters from our collaborative partners talking about the work and how they depend on us and we depend on them in order to serve that most precious population, and that is the men and the women who have served this country honorably and their families. We are looking this year to ask you to increase our budget. Unfortunately, we've lost 33 of our veterans in the last year and a half. My staffing is, I don't have a staff. Everything is volunteer. Thankful to the Urban League that they have sent over a paid staff member to help me with the daily work because it is steadily increasing. So if you would consider increasing our budget, it would be help take a load off of me because I can then hire someone on a stipend or whatever so that we can deliver properly the services to the men and the women who deserve it. I thank you, and I thank you again for all the support that you have given us over the years. God bless you.
Angela Levine.
Hi, my name is Charis McGuire, and I work at Harry Veterans Community Outreach Services, and I was the one that Urban League sent over to help her. And since I've been there, we receive about 24 to 30 calls, of which 2% are veterans. We do spend a lot of time diverting some of the calls by email or to other county or city agencies if they're not veterans, so they can receive some kind of assistance from other agencies. Since I've been there, I have seen many veterans come through the door that we've helped in a crisis mode, needing either their light utilities or help with their rent, or just getting settled into a place of their own. And some of them are so thankful and grateful. And me, myself, my dad was 42 years, 20 years in the Army, 22 in the Air Force, which you can't do that anymore, but back then you could. And I was born in Air Force Hospital. So I'm so grateful for the work that she does, because I see the smiles on their faces when they leave and we've helped them pay a utility bill or help them catch their rent up. And the veterans are very grateful. And I think that all veterans should be helped in this country. So I really, really hope you consider increasing the budget so that she can continue to do the work. And as she said, she's ill, but she still comes in and helps all the time. And so we just thank you for considering increasing her budget and helping the veterans. Thank you.
David Vukovich.
My name is Angela Levine. I live at 836 Oak Street, Winston-Salem, 27101. And first, I want to start off by saying, Commissioners, thank you so much for moving the meeting to 6 o'clock tonight, where a lot of our educators and working folks could attend. We really appreciate that. So I'm here to talk to you and ask you about fully funding the budget request from the school district. We all know that the elected legislators who are in charge of the state budget currently, the primary funding for our schools, have not funded our schools properly. Year after year, teachers and staff do not get the raises they deserve, and per student spending is so poor that North Carolina ranks 48 out of the 50 states. Community members like myself and others here would not be here asking for funds from the county if the state government was doing its job properly. So we do appreciate the county's willingness to help fund this shortfall. And we know that our school district is justified in its budget request. The research was done to look at comparative pay, and we know for a fact that our classified staff could be making higher wages working elsewhere. It is crucial to adjust classified salary so that it's more in line with districts of similar size to ours, as well as the private sector. Retention is a huge concern, and our district leaders are already struggling with recruiting and retaining employees. If we lose important staff, such as bus drivers and janitors and kitchen workers or more, our schools are at risk. I, for one, do not want to see our district be thrown into a crisis mode if it can be avoided. And I believe we need to do everything we can to ensure that these valued employees do not leave our school district for better jobs in other districts or simply in places where they could earn higher wages. If we pay them appropriately, we increase our retention outcomes. And students, teachers, and administrators all benefit. The ask is justified. We just now need you to do the right thing and fully fund the district's budget request. Thank you.
Marcy West.
Hi, my name is David Vukovich. I am a teacher at Reynolds High School, 301 North Hawthorne Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27104. I also live in 27103 as well. I am currently finishing my 13th year as a teacher, specifically a math teacher, and I know the impact that classified employees have on schools. I have multiple students who, because of the driver and mechanic shortage, are late to class by at least 15 minutes every day, adding up to a total of 45 hours of an instructional time through the year for each student on those buses. Yes, I said 45 hours. That is equivalent to 1/6 of the school year just for my class. This doesn't even get at the impact this has on the flow of a class and focus on other students when students come in late. The first step to increasing learning is to getting students to class and to do so on time. Today, we could not start our EOC test until 9:45 a.m. due to late buses, 50 minutes after the start of school. Not only are students late to school, many students are also late to be picked up from school by buses. There are often dozens of students who are still waiting for buses 45 minutes after school ends. Both of these issues harm students whose families cannot afford to drive their kids to school every day more than other students, further increasing a divide to access and education. Additionally, the custodial staff are the people who keep the buildings students and staffs are in every day and safe and operational, not to mention clean and welcoming. The beloved Reynolds lead custodian is leaving at the end of this year for a different school district. He literally makes the school run, and we will miss him dearly. And we need to be able to replace him with someone who has incredible skills such as he. His institutional knowledge is irreplaceable. Anyone who has ever been in a school knows who really makes things work, who knows everything, everyone, and speaks to the most parents, students, and teachers every day. Without the front office administrative assistance, schools would not be able to operate. We need to show these people that they are valued by paying them more. To be fully staffed with qualified people, we must pay classified employees fairly with a livable wage. Because of these arguments and many, many more, I, a teacher and resident of Forsyth County, urge you to approve the Board of Education and Superintendent's request for more funding for classified employees. Thank you.
Michelle Jordan.
Hi, I'm Marcy West, 331 Carolina Circle, Winston-Salem, 27104. And I would like to thank the commissioners for having this session in the evening when many people can attend. I really appreciate that, and I know that it's a change from what's been done. There have been many people who have spoken very eloquently, people who are in the schools about the reason for this need, for this additional funding for the schools. I have a unique perspective. I do not work in the schools. I don't have students in the schools, so why would I care? I care because healthy schools are very important to a healthy community. It's just critical, it's vital to that. And I have past experience as a Board of Selectmen member and on a board, the Finance Committee for many years, 9 years, with these difficult decisions of how you allocate these funds. It's very hard. It's not easy to do. So I understand that that's something you will have to weigh out and appreciate your time to do this. I can tell you one thing, people do always want to fund the things they use. And I can tell you that from running Finance Committee workshops where everyone gave suggestions and brainstormed, and the things that they were going to save money on were always things somebody else used. When they had one opportunity to do the thing they voted on, they actually took a shortcut and said they were going to privatize something, which wasn't going to save any money for anybody. But I really do appreciate the fact that you're here. I want to urge that people consider giving this money to the schools to keep the staff that you need, to keep the schools strong, and to keep our entire community strong. So I thank you very much.
Lori Farrington.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Jordan. I live at 6032 Stone Bluff Drive in Clemens, North Carolina, and I also am a teacher at Brunson Elementary School. I have 2 students that are currently in the school system, one who graduated, and I've been teaching now for 27 years. So I've been in the district, Dr. Martin, since you were our superintendent.
A wee lad.
Yes. So, and speaking to that, so I've been here for a long time, and I have seen over the years the same conversations that keep coming back around, that we need to have classified studies, and we need to figure out what's going on with the compression. And here we see the same thing over and over again. And so it's been the same conversation for about the last 20 years, with us being told that it will be coming, and then it gets put off, and then we don't have funding that comes through. So I am asking for a couple of things. One, I'm asking that you fully fund our request. I know it's more than what typically we have you asked for, but we really need our classified. We need to get our 88, we have 88 bus driver positions short right now. We have a handful of mechanics that are holding together the buses. We have people that are getting hired at $15 an hour, where somebody else in the same department has been there for 13 years and is only making $1 more than them. So we have a lot of things that need to be funded. The second thing that I'm going to ask of you is please advocate to our NCGA. We need you not just to have breakfasts and lunches with them, that's the building the relationship, but we need you guys to have those hard conversations with them about why they're sitting on billions of dollars up in our state. So we need you to be doing both. And I just thank you for all that you have done. And I know that this is a hard decision and hard conversations that you're going to be having over the next few days, but please, our schools really need it. Thank you.
Nicole Gonzalez.
I'm going to stand over to the side because I assume, can everyone hear me? I'm Lori Farrington. Hey, I am a teacher here in the school system. My address is 4210 Robin Hood Road, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27106. Right down the road from where Dr. Martin and I are both members of a church. I come here not as a statistician. I come here not to tell you what organization I am or am not a part of. I come to tell you a story. My last name should be recognizable to those of you who've worked for the city of Winston-Salem, if you have done so for the past 20 plus years, and also for the school system of Winston-Salem. My father worked for the city, and then he also worked for the school system. And as a school system employee, he worked with a certain board member at the time, 20 plus years ago, as the human resources director for personnel as classified staff, compensation, and benefits. Part of his job was to produce pay scale studies and surveys to the Board of Education and to the superintendent of the schools at the time. And this is 20 plus years ago, because when my father passed away, one of the county commissioners sent their condolences at the time. And so my father asked and begged and pleaded for the pay scales to be increased. And he also offered many studies and did many trips 20 plus years ago to compare our pay scales with other comparable school systems. And here we are again, another Farrington, in front of another board, talking to a very similar situation about a budget and how to put us on par with the other comparable school systems. I could leave here, if I were a janitor, I could leave here and go to Guilford and make more money because Guilford County got their budget approved. I could leave here if I were a mechanic and probably go to Wake County because they got their budget approved. So I am asking you to keep us, not only are we as Forsyth County on par in a lot of ways, but we need our personnel paid on par with our comparable counties. And so I come to ask you for that, to put us where we belong, because we have the education system. We just need to pay to staff it appropriately. That is not me as a teacher. That's me as a mom. That's me as a citizen. That's me as a storyteller to you, as a historian with a real good memory that can be a blessing or a curse to some folks. Okay? So I appreciate you changing the time so that I could be here. Because I watch you at 2 o'clock when I can. Sneak on a break. But 6 o'clock was a whole lot better. Okay? Thank you very much.
Sam Matthews.
Hi, I'm Nicole Gonzalez, 4142 Chatham Hill Drive, Winston-Salem, 27104. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you so much for your time. I'm coming to you tonight as a mother of a kindergartner at Spees Elementary. I just wanted to take a moment to share my experience with my daughter's bus driver and my support of approving the proposed budget for the school system. Melissa, or Miss Lisa, as the kids call her, has been there to greet us every single day with a smiling face and an amazing attitude. She truly embraces the idea that the school day starts when the children step onto the bus in the morning and it ends when they step off in the afternoon. She goes above and beyond for us. She decorates the bus for every holiday. She also had a sneaky leprechaun sneak on St. Patrick's Day. She knows every single child's name, last name, and birthday, which she celebrates for those children. She even knows my son's birthday, who's 3 years old. My daughter was 5 years old when the school year started, and it took all of her courage that she had to go to big kids school. There were so many days when she didn't want to go. Miss Lisa was a bright light on those days, making her feel seen and safe and encouraged, and gave her the courage that she needed to take those first few steps onto the bus in the morning. This has allowed her to grow into a more confident and independent child, and of course has fostered her growing into a more independent and confident learner. Like my daughter, so many kids struggle to get to school and stay in school for so many reasons. Kids depend on these drivers not only to get them to school safely and on time, but also to set the tone for their whole education. It takes very special people to do these jobs. Our kids all deserve and need bus drivers like my daughters. It would be a tragedy for us to lose a person like this. It would be a tragedy for us to lose a person like this to another market because we aren't valuing her work enough to pay a fair wage. If we are being truly fair, our district's classified workers would make more than their counterparts in other industries, given their role in creating an environment that is crucial to our society's most important resource, our children and their education. At the very least, these workers deserve a fair living wage for the indispensable and special work that they do. Please fully fund the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools budget so we can recruit and retain people like Melissa, who I know from firsthand experience are absolutely pivotal to our children's education. Thank you.
Lynn Garms.
Good evening, Chairman Martin and Forsyth County Commissioners. I'm Sam Matthews, Executive Director of the Shepherd Center of Greater Winston-Salem. And on behalf of the Shepherd Center and those we are privileged to serve, I want to thank you for your investment in our mission of promoting and supporting successful aging throughout Forsyth County. We are one of the 2 state-certified senior centers in Forsyth County. Many people do not know that the population in Forsyth County of those 60 and over is greater than those that are 17 and younger. So the need for support for the expanding older adult population is critical at this point. Your investment has paid dividends, and we are making a difference. With your support of our mission, you have enabled the Shepherd Center to serve even more older adults this past year than ever before. We remained open throughout COVID, and last year we served a record of over 7,700 aging adults in our community. 40% of those were under 200% of the federal poverty level. We served over 3,600 active aging adults, providing support for those wishing to remain independent in their own homes by providing a record of over 15,500 requests for one-way transportation to medical appointments and grocery shopping, to over 900 minor home repair requests for those wanting to maintain their safety and independence in their own homes. We estimate that we saved Forsyth County residents over $100,000 just last year in providing minor home repair services at virtually no cost to homeowners. We provided caregiver services to over 150 individuals and families, offering caring companionship for older adults who can no longer are able to leave their loved ones at home by themselves. We also offered over 2,000 meaningful health and wellness activities through our Vital Living Senior Center programming to over 3,800 individuals throughout Forsyth County. We have a presence in a number of locations, including Louisville and Pofftown. One of the additional services that we offer is Medicare counseling. I actually participate in the quarterly retirement programs offered through the County Human Resources Department for Medicare counseling. And that is a program offered through the North Carolina Department of Insurance, and serve as the county coordinators for that program. I want to thank you for your continued support of our mission, and I would sincerely ask you to consider the small increase in requests for next year's funding for 23-24 that we have asked in the budget request. Thank you so much.
Jenny Easter.
Hi. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Chairman Martin and Commissioners, for letting us be here today.
Gives your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. I'm Lynn Garms. I'm the Executive Director of the Shepherd Center of Kernersville. And their address is 636 Grayland Street, Kernersville, North Carolina. Thank y'all for the support that you've given us, and it's just really an honor to be here, especially hearing all these other stories of how y'all put forth money to support these many activities to make Forsyth County such a great place to live. I have given each of you a little packet just so I don't have to go through statistics. I don't like to talk publicly, as you can tell, but you can look at it at your leisure. It just gives you some information. The Shepherd Center of Kernersville is under the same umbrella as SAM at the Shepherd Center of Greater Winston-Salem. It's the Shepherd Centers of America, but we operate independently and offer very similar programs, but in some cases they're different programs. But they're all designed to help adults who are aging and adults with disabilities age gracefully, and to offer help for those that need help as they age. I want to just give you a little story, a personal story, just to show you how the Shepherd Center of Kernersville and the Shepherd Center of Winston impact lives. And this one is close to home. It has to do with my husband. He's retired. He has some health issues. And like many other seniors and many other people coming out of COVID, he was home a lot. I was working. So he was home alone. He became very, just felt isolated, fought depression, and he even fought suicide. Knowing that I worked at the Shepherd Center, I was able to kind of urge him so that in February of last year, he came to one of our music jam sessions, which happened on Tuesday mornings. And he used to play guitar, used to write songs, and he put all those things down and was just really depressed. But he came to this session, and he has been going to that session ever since. He's made friends. And he even checks on them or calls them to see if they're not there, if there's anything going on. He plays music at home again, and he's actually even taken up ukulele lessons on top of his guitar. But the neat thing about it, just to show how it goes full circle, we have a neighbor who comes down from Virginia. He's by himself when he comes down. He's invited him to come to the Shepherd Center tomorrow morning to the jam session. He doesn't play an instrument, but we have people that listen. And that just shows you how person by person we're touching lives and making a difference. For someone that actually toyed with the idea of suicide to the fact that they're even branching out to make new friends and bringing other people forward is how the Shepherd Center affects lives one by one. Thank you.
Rhonda Smith.
Jenny Easter, 5120 Paramount Road, Pofftown, North Carolina. Good evening. 2 weeks ago, I came before you having had to take my own personal leave and pay for a substitute to cover my class so I could come advocate in person to you guys for our Winston-Salem Forsyth County school budget. I appreciate you changing the time from the normal 2 o'clock to this 6 o'clock evening meeting so that more of us could come and tell you our stories. I hope you recognize that we will show up if given the opportunity. To start tonight, I wanted to reiterate what I said 2 weeks ago. I ask that you all finally fund our district needs, especially to the specific line item that covers the money needed to address classified staff pay increases. As North Carolina sits stagnant with the state budget, we cannot keep using the lack of their budget as a reason to not increase funding for our budget, especially to residents and their children of Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools. State legislators know commissioners are voting on local budgets right now, so I fully believe they are dragging their feet on purpose. Now is the time to make a decision that matters the most. Classified staff have needed help for years. They and FCAE have begged for county commissioners to prioritize them, but to no avail. We have not gotten what we've needed. I myself, as a kindergarten teacher, had a TA quit mid-year because she couldn't afford to stay in her classified position. I'd like to point out that she has her education degree and had planned all that year to take the praxis to become licensed. She left before she could make that happen. And like her situation, many of our classified staff pay for state health insurance for themselves, but qualify to put their children on Medicaid. It hurts my heart that a school staff member with a 4-year degree has to put their child on Medicaid because to some, their duties seem less important to those who can make a difference to the decisions that can matter most. On a side note, while specific funding for our SRO program is being asked for within our school budget, I personally ask you to fund what Sheriff Kimbrough comes tonight to ask for his staff in Winston-Salem. He has seen firsthand the violence and discipline issues that arise in our schools that, for the most part, happen because of community neighborhood issues. He wants desperately to help our youth so that the teachers aren't having to constantly go through strenuous training on how to mediate the dangerous issues we encounter. I want to end by saying it's important for you all to understand that fully funding our district with special priority to our educational support staff and allowing law enforcement the financial ability to connect to our youth in Winston-Salem will ultimately bring greater safety to our schools, better neighborhoods, and encourage our students to do more good for the community of Forsyth County. Thank you.
Well done. Yeah.
Rhonda Mays.
Rhonda Smith, 300 Jonestown Road, Winston-Salem, 27104. Good evening. I'm Rhonda Smith, founder of Forever a Dancer, a local nonprofit dance academy. We're passionate about using dance to improve health outcomes for members of our community of all ages because we truly believe that you're never too young or old to dance. Many may be surprised to know that out of the nation's 100 most overweight cities, Winston-Salem ranks number 16, according to the 2020 U.S. Census. Our Free to Move Summer Enrichment Program will use natural movement and various dance techniques to encourage health and fitness in critical summer months when students gain up to as much as 3 times the weight that they gain during the school year. The 6-week program will enhance artistic expression through arts, entrepreneurship, and fitness for up to 25 students in Forsyth County. Students from ages 8 to 14 will engage in dance and fitness exercises that support healthy movement and expression. Students will spend half of the day learning and practicing dance techniques, and the latter half of the day learning how to design and produce their own custom dance garments, which they will sell at our Free to Move market, and it will be used in the final showcase at the end of the summer. With your support, county funds would allow us to optimize the program with a 10-to-1 student-to-staff ratio. It'll cover the cost of materials for the garments and staffing costs. Again, we're Forever a Dancer. Thank you so much for your time.
Judy Howard.
Good evening. I am Rhonda Mays, 6391 Bishops Ridge Lane, Rural Hall, North Carolina, 27045. Again, good evening. I am here to ask you to fully fund the requests from Superintendent McManus for our school system. Our budget request is in alignment with what we're needing at this time. And we're needing our classified, or ESPs, as we often call them, our education support professionals, to be able to stay in our district, for them not to leave our district for other districts in the area or for the private sector. We want to show that we appreciate them and that they can have a salary that they can live on. I've come before you before to ask you to do this. And before I told you, there's not a separate line in the grocery store for those who have a certified paycheck and those who have a classified paycheck. If those of us who are certified, if we're struggling with the increased cost of goods and services, if we're struggling to pay for them, our classified staff are struggling even more because they are the least paid individuals in our school district normally. We want to make certain that we can retain them here in Forsyth County, in particular in our school system. We don't want them to go to not Stokes. We don't want them to go to Guilford County. We don't want them to go to Wake County. We don't want them to go to Charlotte Meck because they can get paid more. We want them to stay here in Forsyth County. We're asking, because one time before it was said we didn't ask. We're asking that you fully fund the request from Superintendent McManus.
Oh, girl.
Thank you, and have a great evening.
You did well.
My name is Judy Howard, and I live at 1512 Trinity Garden Circle, Clemens, North Carolina, 27012. And I've been teaching 38 years, and Dr. Martin, I knew you too, and I think you knew my mother. I've been, Polly Lincoln, she was a secretary, and a long time ago. And, but I have been teaching a long time. Oh, there you go. I always have to have things on my notes. I'm sorry. Okay. So, I love teaching more than anything. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, custodians have been nickeled and dimed to death. I mean, they have my whole, and so we desperately need an increase. Myself included, have 2 extra jobs at 65 years old. And it's not easy, but I need the extra income because all the extra, food, everything else costs more, and the higher cost in living. And so classified staff do more than what is on our job description, believe me. I mean, this social emotional learning I'm having to teach. That was let go. And then we're nurses. We listen, we console, we cover for classes. Even today, it was like, Judy, can you go to 5th grade? Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll be there in a minute, And you go there and then you just go where else. And, I don't complain about it because I know we have to work together. We're short staffed, and bus drivers, oh, Lord, help them. I mean, because sometimes it's 2 hours late for some of them coming. And I'm like, if I could just have my bus driver's license, I could take them home because I feel sorry. And so we learn in the classroom when I'm there for so long. And I said, what do you want to do? So let's work on your words, and it's like, I teach, even if it's after school, because it's what I do and it's what I love, and so it hits my heart. My mom always told me, she said, you don't make a lot of money, but you know what? I'm not in it for the income. It's more the outcome because I love it. That's what brings us tears, because I love my kids. And I think I was meant to teach. I was put on this earth to teach these children, and I love it, and I teach every day. Okay, thank you. And just if you can consider about, classified people, a little more money, it would help. I'm going to do it anyway because I love it so much. I have a few years to retirement, and I'm trying to make the best of it because I love it. And all these people that are here today, wow, And anyway, anything you can do would be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Bill with Cross Street Partners and Mary Dossinger. Sorry, I couldn't read your writing, sir.
Bill Streever, 3733 Millhaven Road. I represent Cross Street Partners, Beta Verde Kitchen, their affiliated nonprofit Good Stuff, and Cobblestone Farmers Market. Here talking about the project we have at 1001 and 1007 South Marshall Street at the South Salem Gateway. It's a $50 million redevelopment of 150,000 square feet of the old Bonson Mill and Camel City Coach Company in 2 phases. Our focus right now, phase 1, is on 1007 Marshall Street facing the Gateway. $12 million project. We aim to close late summer, finish the second quarter next year. It will be the permanent home of Cobblestone Farmers Market. Please come year-round now, every Saturday morning. The goal for the larger project is to create a collaborative accelerator in support of entrepreneurs, innovators, small business, special focus on women, minority, and veteran entrepreneurs, and to bring them, the best in terms of facility, equipment, and entrepreneurial support services around 3 focus areas. One's around food, not surprisingly, with Cobblestone Market with a shared use commercial kitchen incubator and a follow-on agriculture scale-up production facility, working with local growers, producers, including the 60 vendors at Cobblestone Farmers Market. The second focus is around textile and apparel, great tradition here in Winston-Salem. And the third is around creative digital arts, animation, and film, building on this amazing resource we have with UNC School for the Arts National Night Film Program. The impact, one is around placemaking. It's going to be right there at the Circle, the Strollway. It's going to be full of energy, not just Saturday morning. Workforce training in all 3 of those areas is going to be a major goal in terms of teaming up with trainers. And most importantly, I think, growing jobs and business. The kitchen alone, from the experience of Beta Verde over the last decade, will have 50 food entrepreneurs at any one time. On a conservative basis, Margaret believes they'll create at least 1.5 permanent jobs. 20% of those, again, from experience, graduate to full bricks and mortar enterprises. She can give you a list of all the businesses that have grown out of the kitchen with from 10 to 30 jobs. Textile and apparel, same thing. And the creative digital arts and film thing is just a huge opportunity today. So our goal is to complete the $50 million project in 3 years, at which time it will be serving in total 150 entrepreneurs and small businesses, have 350 jobs on site, and again, more graduating out, growing, and into full bricks and mortar enterprises. The goal is to maximize subsidies, state and store credits, new market credits, and ultimately end up with a debt-free building for long-term sustainability of these programs. Thank you.
Ksenia Richards.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Dossinger. I'm the program director for the River Run International Film Festival. We're located at 301 North Main Street, Suite 2606, Winston-Salem 27101. And I want to thank you all so much for the opportunity to be here tonight to speak with you. And on behalf of River Run, I want to thank you so much for your past support of our organization. It allowed us to continue operations with a modified business model throughout the pandemic, and we are really, really grateful for that support. I'm pleased to be here tonight to report an update on our 25th annual River Run Film Festival that just happened this past April. So last year in our 2022 festival, our attendance was up to 50% of what it had been back in 2019 before the pandemic. But this year we saw our attendance climb to 64% of what had been in 2019. So we're very excited about that. Our attendance this year was 11,562 people who attended the festival. So it was a great year. And we also had over 130 filmmakers and special guests in town for the festival as well. Of most exciting importance, our festival included 13 free screenings and panels for our community, and that doesn't count our entirely free educational program, Films with Class. And our Films with Class program this year, we reached 1,690 students throughout the county who participated both in person coming to the festival and virtually in their classrooms. These are 3 curated programs that we create for the festival every year for elementary, middle school, and high school students. It was a great success, and we were really pleased with the amount of students we reached. And to ensure that we continue to reach so many members of Forsyth County, we worked with a number of nonprofits and organizations as well on screening programs to benefit the community. We work with Temple Emmanuel, Out at the Movies, Bookmarks, Habitat for Humanity, and Krasner Communities for Children. And also, in addition to our annual 10-day festival, we have film screenings and events all throughout the year. And this past year, we had 11 additional year-round screenings, 10 of which were free for the community. So we are very excited about that. And all of this is possible due in no small part from the support we receive from you, the county. And we thank you so much for your past support, and we hope you will consider us in this year's budget. And thank you for all you do for Forsyth County. Thank you so much.
Michelle Cook.
Good evening. Commissioner Martin, Board of Commissioners, County Manager. I'm Ksenia Richards with the North Carolina I Bank, 3900 West Point Boulevard, Suite F, Winston-Salem 27103. The North Carolina I Bank, a 501c3 nonprofit, now known as Miracles in Sight, is one of the largest I banks in the world. It was founded in this community in 1951 and has been headquartered here since then. The I Bank has since assisted in restoring sight to millions of people by providing cornea tissue. Our mission is to support restoration, preservation, and enhancement of sight through transplant, research, and innovation. With operations in Winston-Salem, South Carolina, and Texas, the I Bank each year recovers eye tissue from over 3,000 donors, provides tissue for 3,800 transplants, and donates tissue to research institutes to study diabetic retinopathy and age-related macular degeneration. Due to a catastrophic and devastating flood of our leased space in April 2022, our board of directors voted to conduct a capital campaign to help us acquire and build out a new facility in Clemens, Forsyth County. The new state-of-the-art building, once renovated, will house our new headquarters. It will include 4 specialty labs indispensable for preparing eye tissue for transplant and research facilities. The new building and its highly technical labs will meet and exceed industry and regulatory standards. The I Bank will achieve the following objectives with its transition to the new building. 1, we position ourselves strongly for growth and thus remain the largest eye tissue provider in North Carolina. 2, we will create a dedicated space to train physicians and ophthalmic technicians in surgical procedures and handling human tissue, and build a dedicated space for innovation research and service development. 3, we expect to not only retain 94 skilled workers, 64% of them diverse, but also hire up to 10 additional employees at all levels within the next year, in addition to 2 recent hires. 4, we will continue raising awareness and educating of this community about the importance of donating tissue. The North Carolina I Bank requests one-time, non-recurring grant, which represents 10% of our capital campaign budget. Our board of directors has made a substantial commitment of organizational funds toward the capital campaign. In addition, all board members have made pledges to support the campaign. In our 72-year history, we have never needed to ask for community support until today. We thank the Forsyth County Commissioners for considering our request to expand our vision and to further I-banking and innovation. Thank you.
Joanne Allen.
Good evening. Michelle Cook. I'm Senior Director of Development at Old Salem Museums and Gardens, 600 South Main Street in Winston-Salem. Good evening, Chairman Martin, commissioners, and staff. It's my pleasure to be with you this evening. I'm joined by my colleague, to ask for your favorable consideration of Old Salem's 2023-2024 funding request. But before we do that, we want to thank you so very much for your past support, very generous ongoing support of Old Salem. Your special appropriation grants, coupled with our recent ARPA funding, have been a game changer for us. We've been able to, with your investments, we've been able to provide ongoing educational content specifically tied to requests from the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools educators through our Learning in Place classroom series. We've transformed all of our educational demonstration gardens into victory gardens, producing food for Second Harvest Food Bank and for Hope Winston-Salem. We were able to shift all of our bakery production to make bread for families in need, donating 100% of our production to the food bank. Our ability to quickly pivot our programming away from in-district visitation to online experiences garnered national attention, not just for Old Salem, but for Winston-Salem and for Forsyth County. That was done through industry publications and press. In the face of very troubling financial landscape, Old Salem quickly addressed pressing community needs. We didn't miss a beat. Your funding helped us to do that, and we're here to say thank you. Tonight, we're asking for continued funding to help us expand our efforts and have an even greater impact in Forsyth County. This year, we are requesting a modest increase from $100,000 that we received last year to $120,000 this year. The increased funding will support our continued recovery efforts. Revenue is up at Old Salem, but we've not fully recovered. We're particularly struggling in the area of admissions. We ended 2022 with a $227,000 shortfall. This year's request is for additional $71,000 toward that shortfall, or 66% of our request. The other portion of our request, $49,000, is for us to upgrade technology and lighting in several of our key locations. These upgrades will make a significant difference as school children, adult visitors, and remote visitors visit Old Salem. It provides valuable cultural and educational content that reaches far beyond the number of people who can get into our facilities. In a recent tourism study, history was rated as the #1 reason that people visit our region. Of those people who responded, 64% said Old Salem was the #1 reason that they come. You help us keep our doors open. Thank you so much for your investments. We appreciate your consideration.
Arnita Miles.
Joanne Allen, P.O. Box 284 27102. First of all, let me just start out by saying thank you to the county manager, Mr. Dudley Watts. I like to say that every time I've called or emailed him, he's always gotten back to me in a prompt manner, and I do appreciate that, and just keep doing what you're doing. I had quite a few things I wanted to say, but because I've listened to all the individuals, the 30-some before us, at this time, let me just kind of wing this a little bit. We just went through this with the city council meeting on Monday. And I just want, last Monday, and I just want to say, or whatever day it was, I just want to say that this is a no-brainer. We always put children and people first, and we have to start going back to that. See, everyone that's up here, I know every last one of you, you can go home and you're good, you're comfortable. Hey, everything's good. But we've really got to put the children in education. I have to give credit to Superintendent McManus. I haven't told her this, haven't mentioned anything, but she's the first superintendent that I've seen that has really put her heart into trying to put the children first. And I admire that about her, okay? The thing about what we're looking at is this, and you all know because you've been seeing me many, many years come up here, but things are changing, is this. We now have to do our part. You have to do your part. And what I mean by that is this. If you can give millions of dollars in incentive pay for people to build buildings in Forsyth County and Winston-Salem, guess what? You can do your job and actually help the children, the homeless, people in poverty, because the money is there. The money is there. Let's not shortchange the people of Forsyth County. Let's not shortchange anybody. Let's do our job. And let's do it effectively, because guess what? 2024 is coming very quickly. Thank you.
Elizabeth Dampier.
Good evening, Chairman Martin, County Commissioners. Arnita Miles, 494 Smithdale Street, Winston-Salem, District B. That is my flag. I am a combat veteran. Imagine moving back to Winston-Salem, awaiting your veterans' benefits, and you find yourself homeless. I submit to you, there are homeless veterans living here in Forsyth County that are living in tents. They're homeless. We need additional funding to go to the agencies that provide assistance for veterans that find themselves homeless. I'm wearing 4 hats today. I've talked about our homeless veterans. Do you know Forsyth County has the highest number of female veterans in the state of North Carolina? Imagine being a female veteran that doesn't have benefits, awaiting her benefits, and she finds herself homeless. That was almost my case when I first moved back here to Forsyth County. I didn't have any place to go, but I had a strong mother who helped me. But I was almost homeless. That's why I fight for our veterans and our homelessness here. Homelessness is not just a problem in Winston-Salem. There are homeless in Forsyth County, on the outskirts, in the donut. Please support the agencies, the CDC, the ESR, and Harris Veterans. As a volunteer with the Winston-Salem Forsyth County school system, I put on that hat. I ask you to support Dr. McManus. Support the substitute teachers. If you haven't been to a school, which I'm sure all of you have, I challenge you to go into a classroom and talk to those little children who have a problem that are 15 to 20 minutes late getting to school. They need your help. Help the teachers. Help the administrators. They need your help. Help the volunteers, the volunteer programs, provide funding. That 4th hat that I'm aware is providing assistance for the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. As a former deputy sheriff and former officer with Sheriff Standards of North Carolina, I know y'all are saying, well, dang, she's wore a lot of hats. She is not that old. But to whom much is given, much is required. I ask you and I challenge you to provide the funding that Sheriff Kimbrough is seeking. It's not easy working at that detention office, at that detention center. I would almost go back to war instead of going there and working.
Ms. Wiles.
They need your help. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Ford.
Hey, good evening. Elizabeth Dampier, Executive Director at Callidium, located at 400 West Haynes Mill Road, Winston-Salem, 27105. Chairman Martin, fellow commissioners, county staff, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to share with you about the impact that your appropriation makes to Callidium each year. Each year, we earmark that towards our access initiatives. And we've asked for a flat request this year of $250,000, and that allowed us to raise and leverage an additional $900,000 last year towards access for this community. Of all of our visitors last year, 59% came from what are defined as diverse zip codes as determined by the U.S. Census, but we have a few access initiatives that we focus on. One is our community access passes. Those are located in every library here in Forsyth County and allows anyone with a library card to check that out and come to the museum for free any day that they have it. Additionally, we allow all Winston-Salem, Forsyth County public school students to come for free admission for a field trip to Callidium. And in addition, if you are a Title I school, then you get a free educational program while on that field trip at Callidium. Last year, we saw 173 school visits, and 42% of those were Title I schools. Those numbers are dramatically increasing as we continue to recover from COVID. The last thing I want to tell you about is our program called Museums for All, which allows all individuals with an EBT card to come to the museum for $3 per person any day, every day. In 2002, more than 5,700 people visited through Museums for All. This program is growing. In just the first 3 months of 2023, we saw more than 1,860 individuals. So if we stay on track, we will see more than 7,500 individuals from this program. Callidium and its board of directors remains committed to access in this community. At our last board meeting in May, we decided to increase those to not just allow EBT card holders to come in through Museums for All, but also to allow WIC families to come in. More than 11,000 people in Forsyth County qualify for women, infant, and children. And we continue to want even additional access. In talking with Second Harvest Food Bank, we found out that only 24% of the people that receive their services actually have EBT benefits. So there's a huge population that still have needs in our community. So we are partnering at the request of our board with Second Harvest Food Bank to accept their card as well. That opens up access to the museum at that $3 per person every day to more than 200,000 people in our region. Doing this for our community, having access to Callidium, informal learning, critical thinking, problem solving, experiencing new things, we know how important that is. And with your help and support, we continue to do that for this community. Thank you so much for the privilege of being here.
SD Patterson.
Good evening, Commissioners. Come on behalf of Action for Equity, 1922 South Martin Luther King Drive. The people who clean our schools, feed our kids, and make it possible to safely transport our children every day should never be underpaid for the work that they do. And so on behalf of Action for Equity, I add my voice to the chorus that you have heard tonight, calling upon this body to support the increased salaries for classified workers. The fact of the matter is that all those who care for the next generation of our nation's leaders should be well paid and well cared for, so that we can surround our children with the best people providing the best service. We know that Bishop Barber has reminded us that budgets are moral documents. And so while there will be many conversations at all times about where do you find the money and what do you cut to offset this, we always find the money for the things that matter most to us. We do it on a federal level, we do it on a state level, we do it on a county level, and we do it on a city level. The people who take care of our children should matter most to us. And that's a charge to this body, but of course it's also a charge to this body to lobby the state at the General Assembly level to release and fully fund Leandro, which we have been organizing for years, because that will only make it easier to take care of our classified workers, to take care of our teachers, and to take care of our kids. Thank you.
Could you give us your name and address, please? Either I didn't get it or just your name and address.
Oh,
thanks.
Paul Robeson Ford, and with A for Ease of 1922 South Martin Luther King Drive.
Thank you.
Good evening. SD Patterson, Executive Director of Neighborhoods Hands, 1713 North Liberty Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27105. First of all, I would like to say thank you once again for entrusting us with the ARPA funding to do what we need to do on behalf of our food bank. With that said, we have other programs that's making a difference in 27105. For example, we collaborated with the Wake Forest School of Law, and we helped over 115 residents to submit their expungement package. We have helped over 105 residents to get their license back. See, numbers don't lie. And I'm here today to inform you that we just want to make another impact. We have a workforce development program that on the average, we average between 10 to 12 people per week to come to our job training seminars, resume building seminars. And we pick them up in our transportation vehicles and take them to job interviews. But we cannot do this without your support. Lastly, we have a summer enrichment program that we offer to all the students of the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School District. We have 25 kids every year that come to our program for free. We feed them, we take them on field trips, we do academic training, all for income-based individuals who may not have the resources for a summer camp program. So today I ask you to please consider Neighborhood's Hands special appropriation request. We cannot do this without you. But we are only here to make a difference, make an impact for all the residents of Forsyth County. Thank you.
Ronald Blake Gross and Norman Walker.
Good evening, Ronald Gross, the Chief of the Griffith Fire Department at 5190 Peters Creek Parkway, Winston-Salem, 27127. Manager Watts, deputy managers, and commissioners, I want to begin with our sincere gratitude and appreciation for this county's support of the Griffith Fire Department. It's no secret that our journey has been met with some struggles and setbacks, but I cannot convey to you the grit, the strength, and the persistency the men and women of our department have met each trial with just to overcome. A sense of pride we feel is overwhelming. The undeniable progress we have achieved, as told to me by a senior inspector of the Office of the State Fire Marshal, is almost unheard of in the short amount of time that we have accomplished it. In the last fiscal year, our department has seen 11 new members, 9 of which have been employed, 4 volunteers who were on a volunteer basis moved, gained the certifications and moved to paid staff, and 5 community members join our board of directors. We're proud to say that each one of these members are still active and have been retained on our roster. NFPA standard 1710 establishes an 80-second turnout time and a 5-minute and 20-second response time. On average, the Griffith Fire Department responds out in 62 seconds and 5 minutes and 13 seconds in total, well underneath the national average. We have noted a substantial increase in our staff participation overall. Nearly 95% of the members are responding to incidents, and our department has seen a 25% increase in calls for service within the last 3 years. I highlight these accomplishments and bring them to your attention not only to brag on the diverse group of individuals that comprise our great department, but also to inform you that with the assistance and the increase that we are seeking, this will be our new foundation, and we can and will continue to build, serve, and grow and flourish to the next level with your support. Given the substantial increase in call volume, the dynamic situations that my firefighters face each day, and the modern struggles of the fire service, we must invest heavily in the recruitment, the retention of our paid staff and our volunteers. Currently, Griffith Fire Department has the second to lowest tax rate inside of Forsyth County. We also have one of the lowest tax valuations in Forsyth County. Our most comparable departments are nearly twice the rate as our tax rate is set. We're asking for your support and your investment into our community to help build the foundation and continue to grow. Thank you.
Sam Grogg.
Thank you. Norman Walker with Mineral Springs Volunteer Fire and Rescue, 1338 Old Hollow Road, Winston-Salem, 27105. I'm here to request the increase that we asked for to help assist us in doing the job we need to get done. We acquired a new highway through our district, and we're catching several calls on it. And it's, as you know, we receive no tax bases off the highways. I'm not asking for a lot, but this right here will also help us to update some of our department where it hasn't been touched, like the roof, the parking lot, and all that needs to be updated. Our parking lot is an air care landing zone for air care for our area up there. And with the highway going in up there, we may need it more than what we've needed it in the past. Our roof on our building hadn't been touched in 25 years because we work on our budget. At the end of the year, we're zero. So, we're just asking for a slight increase so we can build the money up to replace this stuff. And I appreciate y'all's consideration on that. Thank y'all.
Hi there. My name is Kim Shufran, 952 West 4th Street, Winston-Salem, 27101. I'm the executive director and founder of ICANN House. And ICANN House is a nonprofit in Winston-Salem, which I founded, I designed because of the need that I was living with my daughter. My daughter is on the autism spectrum with other differences and challenges, such as ADHD, anxiety, learning disabilities, and she was falling between the cracks. Her needs were not getting met, and thus I took it to heart and then to the streets and then to the community to design what is now ICANN House that we've been running for 15 years. So I come to you today with just a few statistics. 1 in 39 children in North Carolina will be diagnosed with autism. And if you calculate that out to Forsyth County, that is 77,000 children in Forsyth County. Neurodiversity includes autism, anxiety, dyslexia, learning disabilities of many sorts, OCD, etc. And if you look at those statistics, it's 20 to 30% of our population as adults. You calculate that out, that's another 115,000. I'm sorry, that's true. Adults with autism and neurodiversity are underemployed or unemployed. After 2 years after high school, most 50% are unemployed. So ICANN House is here. I come to tell you that we provide social skills, life skills, independent skills that take social emotional learning to the next step for those that are falling between the cracks, who are bullied and don't have the skills. I ask you for your support today, funding our Independence in the Real World program. That is specifically designed for young adults who have finished high school and are lost. They don't know where to go. There are services that are lost at that age. And we're teaching them independent skills, employment skills, and life skills. The other thing that ICANN House does that is of importance is that neurodiverse individuals are already in our work settings. They're your coworkers, the teachers in our schools, they're professors, they're everywhere. So the other thing that ICANN House does is we provide training and education to community members, to our businesses, and also to first responders, law enforcement officers, and school resource officers, et cetera. So I do that 4 times a year, getting the message across to how to communicate with those who are neurodiverse. So the funding and the request that I have would be to support ICANN House. This is a new request to you. We are not new to the community. And we have 100 children, teens, and adults. We go on up to 65 as our oldest members who come every week to our programs. Thank you. And I have our Sam Grog as our chair who'll come next. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for listening to Kim Schufrin about ICANN House. My name is Sam Grog. I reside at 5566 Pinebrook Lane in Winston-Salem. I'm, as Kim said, the board chair of ICANN House. I was the founding dean of the School of Filmmaking at the North Carolina School of the Arts back in 1993 and was here and planned to live a long time in Winston-Salem, but my autistic son actually forced us to move away to find resources and services that at that time did not exist for him. I came back 3 years ago, mainly because my friends had told me that this is still a wonderful place to live. And in my retirement, my son now is 34. He is a video production entrepreneur. He's opened a little studio over here in Liberty Plaza. He's still on the spectrum, but he got the services he needed. I only wish he would have got them here. And I'm so happy that ICANN House now exists so that other families with children like mine can prosper here in Winston-Salem. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, our last speaker is Jennifer Castillo.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Castillo, 4975 Stonington Road, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27103. I'm here today with my daughter, Carly Castillo, who basically dragged me here after she heard me and a colleague talking about the county commissioners meeting tonight. And she said, I want to go. So I decided to come on down. Carly has been obsessed with the political system, the local political system, ever since I ran for school board this past November. And ever since then, you ask her what she wants to do when she grows up, and she says, I want to be a voter, which really means I want to be a candidate. She wants to be a candidate or a campaign manager. She did say that. And I fully support that. I do. But in order for me to be able to support my daughter, I need to make sure that her schools are supported as well. She's a student at Jefferson Elementary, and she has received excellent educational instruction there, but she requires additional assistance. She would benefit from a teacher assistant. The thing with Carly is she's a great critical thinker, she's a great speaker, she's a great advocate, but like I tell her all the time, your brain just works a little bit differently. So she has a hard time understanding directions, instructions. You can't just give her a worksheet and explain it and tell her do this, do that. Like, she needs more hands-on explaining of the work that she needs to do. So kindergarten, she had a teacher assistant in her classroom. It was great. First grade, she did not. And so she suffered a lot in the fact that the teacher had to juggle, instead of giving her the attention that the extra support that she needed, she had to spend her time telling kids to calm down, to quiet down, other things that aren't part of the learning lesson. So she would come home complaining that she couldn't learn, that the teacher kept getting interrupted. So I come here to support all of the teachers that are here and ask that you fully fund their requests, because a teacher assistant makes a complete difference, and it will in her education. If she continues in her grades and she has that extra support there, then I know she will grow and she will flourish and be the person that she wants to be, and maybe be up here one day herself. So I ask that you guys fully support our teachers, classified staff. When I was in school, I'll call them lunch ladies. The lunch ladies, they were like my source of support. They always made sure that they complimented me on things, even when I was having a rough day. So we talk a lot about our students' social and emotional support. So let's think about our classified staff. our cafeteria workers, our school custodians, our bus drivers as those people that offer that mental health for our students. I also want to talk about the bus drivers. I mentored a student as part of the Greater Winston-Salem Senior Academy program, a student at Parkland High School that lived here with his siblings, didn't live with his parents. He struggled in the class that he struggled the most. He had good grades, but the one class that he struggled with was the class that he was late to school pretty much every single day in the morning, at least 30 minutes late, and that really affected his education. So I just wanted to let you guys see how important that is to make sure that we get our students there on time. And also to support Sheriff Kimbrough's pay increase, because we need that. We need safe communities. Thank you.
You were great, yeah.
It's good. Well, thank all of you for coming. It's been a good evening for a lot of good information shared and a lot of needs certainly identified. And we actually, all of our meetings they'll be live streamed, and you can also watch them and we'll actually be working starting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So all of our folks will be here. Thank you for coming out tonight, and drive safely.